Hey, it's James Raby. We have to say something here, but I don't want to say much. Thanks for listening to the Y105 FM Early Morning Show Radio On Demand podcast. Love you.
My wife to stop acting out in front of my mom. Hi, it's James Raby. Welcome to the show. It's Y105 FM's Early Morning Show. What would you say Wednesday? It is Am I the Jerk Head Crat Face? This guy's a number. My wife and I had our baby boy 5 weeks ago. Everything's going fine. No health problems or complications whatsoever. However, my wife is often exhausted, so I let my mom come over to help out with cleaning and stuff. I can barely have time to work. And also, at the same time, spend time with the baby and bond with him a little bit. But the thing is, my wife acts strange whenever she sees my mom with our son. She'll make a face and talk to her with a condescending tone, even raises her voice at her, causing mom to feel hurt. I asked my wife about it, and she said, well, it's because of what my mom is doing. I asked her to elaborate, and she complained about mom holding the baby for long and taking forever to give him back to her. Mom argued with that my wife could ask nicely instead of outright yelling, but my wife defended herself, saying, I only start raising my voice after you're already asked, after I've already asked a couple times, and you won't listen. Isn't that interesting? Well, I would do what you ask if you asked nicely. Who are you? This isn't your kid, for crying out loud. You don't, even if she shouted it every time, it's her kid. Holy moly. I don't know what this mother-in-law is like. She might be great otherwise, but that is problematic. They started arguing and mom started crying. Oh, mom's defensive cry. Then when I felt enraged, pulled my wife aside and told her to stop acting out, that if she keeps this up, then we won't get any more help from mom. You didn't get mad or even upset about it until your mom cried. Not because your wife was having issues with mom. All right. She argued that she was trying to feed our son and that it was awful of me to think it was acting out. I said, I understood your frustration. And yeah, mom can do things that require some patience from us, but a little kindness can go a long way in keeping the peace in this difficult time. She called me selfish and said that it's easy for me to say when I'm not the one dealing with this. From there, the argument escalated, despite me trying to cut it short. Well, sure, you must have realized you were in the wrong. Holy moly. I went outside to calm down, and after that, my wife started cold shouldering me. I told her this was not okay, but she told me to go blank myself and that from now on, I should deal with taking our son back from my mom when it's time for feeding, since I condoned her behavior. I really am not condoning anything and really think she's stressed out. But yes, the way she behaves around my mom, in my opinion, is not okay. Look, I don't agree with my mom's behaviors, just how my wife reacts to them. Wow. There's a lot to unpack there, right? I mean, he's mad at his wife for saying, give me back my kid. And mom, not mad at mom for saying, well, if you'll ask nicely, I will. Oh, and then he's enraged because his mom cries. Mom must know this, right? Mom must know the trigger to get the kid to defend mom. Wow, the whole thing is a mess. What do you think? Let me know now on the Y105 FM app. Just hit chat.
This is breaking news from Zumbrota Ford.
Morning show. I'm James Raby with Am I the Jerkhead Crab Face? For telling my wife to stop acting out in front of my mom. So the story is, wife had a baby 5 weeks ago, and mother-in-law's around, and apparently the mother-in-law and the wife don't get along, and the husband's defending the mother-in-law, especially when mom-in-law cries. All right. So on the Y105 FM Facebook, Myra says, she needs to talk to a doctor about postpartum depression. That's what it sounds like. Don't wait. A lot of thoughts about that on the page. That's something I didn't consider because, of course, that's not my world. And Chelsea said, after having a baby last year, I felt incredibly stressed when my mother-in-law came 6 weeks later to help, but just made more stress as I wanted my house to be clean before she came and had extra people to feed and worry about nursing and diapering on very little sleep. Mom may be criticizing her wife all day and when you're at work, so you don't see it or hear it. It's important for mom to bond with her baby by holding it and can have anxiety going along without seeing the baby or holding the baby. Mom should go home. If it makes the wife more stressed than happy, she is there. I'd rather have a dirty house no one sees than a bunch of stress from a cleaning helper. That's a pretty good Pretty good point. Deb says wifey's hormones are all over the place, yet don't know what the relationship is between your wife and your mother. But normally, you should never, ever not defend how your wife feels. Shame on you for scolding her. Wow. There's one last thought I want to throw in. Where is it here? On our Y105 FM app, Janet, 22, said, the husband should be more understanding of the baby's needs since he's apparently still breastfeeding himself. Whoa! A man fell 40 feet in a Byron quarry. Next in the Y105 FM Early Morning Show News Minute. It's the Y105. The Olmsted County Sheriff's Office is investigating an apparent accident that occurred Tuesday morning at a quarry near Byron. I'm James Raby. Good morning. This is the Y105 FM Early Morning Show News Minute. Going to be a sunny day. We'll find out the full forecast in less than 1 minute. Very little information is available, but we do know the man fell about 40 feet, was conscious when first responders got there, and was rushed to St. Mary's with head and other injuries. Follow this story for updates on the Y105 FM app. More local news you'll find on the Y105 FM app this morning. Teenage victim of SUV dump truck crash ID'd. DWI arrests increased more than 10% during extra summer patrols in Minnesota. New charges for Rochester women with history of check forgery. And sold. A popular consignment store here in Rochester has changed hands. It's Kismet. And the rabies shot. Today's doughhead comes from Florida. Florida! A guy named Dave was driving along, minding his own business, thinking nothing of it. Then a snake tried to kill him by slithering across on his windshield and distracting him. Well, rabies shot to the snake, but Dave survived. He says a week earlier, he found a chicken on his hood. The chicken was definitely a cooler experience, he said, because it was pretty friendly. I hung out with the chicken for about an hour until somebody came and rescued him. Yeah, actually, chickens can be fun to hang with. They're way less judgmental than snakes. Y105 FM weather for today. We got another couple days of absolute loveliness. Sunny and 78 today, clear and 53 tonight, and then tomorrow sunny and 82. Again for today, sunny and 78. It is a perfect way to begin the month, and I guess now we're officially in the middle. But anyway, you know what I mean. It's 54, and on the way in about 12 minutes, we're going to be talking with Samantha Evans, and she wrote a book called Love Letters to Miscarried Moms. Fantastic conversation. If you have someone that has miscarried or you know someone that has, this is some pretty important information. I don't even want to tell you too much because she's just so interesting. But if you're dealing with grief, it's really, I think, important to listen because you'll understand how not alone you are. It's the Y105 FM Early Morning Show.
We've got a better variety for your workday.
Morning show. I need to give you a trigger warning here because we're going to be talking about miscarriages. All right. Samantha Evans is the author of Love Letters to Miscarried Moms. Having had a miscarriage herself 10 years ago, she wrote a book, and this is the 10th anniversary edition of the book coming out. And Samantha, if you don't mind starting here, I think one of the biggest things people don't realize is that this is a real grief thing that you don't just get over it in a day or two. You have to process, and grief can last a long time.
Absolutely. And I definitely was in that camp before I miscarried. I'm like, oh, she had a miscarriage. Oh, sad. Oh, sad. But then you move on with your life.
Right.
And there's a whole different perspective because for the family that lost a child, they were making plans. They were wondering if the boy would look like the dad or if it would have mom's smile. They were rearranging plans for 9 months ahead and possibly buying furniture or rearranging the house. And so there's you make a lot of room for a baby before the baby comes in your heart, in your house, in your life. And I think people take that for granted a lot of times. The miscarriage itself was one of the darkest things I've ever experienced.
Mm-hmm. And when you came home, what was going on with you?
I actually miscarried at home. The cramps started and then I took a hot bath and knew I was miscarrying.
Oh.
And so I didn't go to the doctor until the next day, which I would not recommend to people, actually.
Oh,
my husband was begging to take me to the ER. I'm like, no, my body's doing what it's supposed to be doing. It's okay. And But there are so many other reasons you could be bleeding when you're pregnant.
Right.
Go to the doctor. Just go. And I was also really not thinking clearly because the grief was instant and awful.
Well, and I assume you felt very alone.
I did, actually. I sought out a lot of women, specifically from my church, who'd miscarried. And they would just whisper like wallflowers, like, I've had a miscarriage. Psst.
Right.
And so I sought them out. And for several weeks following the miscarriage, I didn't want to talk to anyone who hadn't experienced my pain. I was working at a church at the time, and there was a preschool connected to the church. So there were a lot of moms walking their little, toddlers in, and moms with pregnant bellies and little kids screaming, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." And it was awful. And so I actually started using a different entrance to the church. So I wouldn't have to see those families. And I stopped going on Facebook for a while because I didn't want to see ultrasound photos or some of those other things that triggered the loss.
You need space to process, and that can take a while. I have a friend who, I think it was 5 years ago now, miscarried. And every now and then, there's still a Facebook post saying, "Oh my gosh, just yesterday I processed another piece of information about my grief." And I suppose as you walk this path, you discovered sucker punch comments.
Yeah, so there's a whole chapter on sucker punch comments, actually. It's basically just a whole list of stupid things that people say. One, he was a teenager, so God bless him, but he said, "I guess God changed his mind, huh?" And I was like, oh, okay.
Thanks, kid.
Right. Or at least it wasn't a real baby, or at least, it's just, yeah, no, it was real because I was pregnant. I definitely was pregnant. So that's one of the things I say in the book, is that I just remind women that the baby was real because the pregnancy was real.
Right.
The pregnancy happened, therefore there was a baby. And just reminding moms, hey, it's not invisible. This is something that you went through because there's a real hurt because there's a real child.
Well, and even if you didn't get to physically remaking a room, it doesn't mean you didn't physically become a parent in your head, in your mind, your emotions, your heart, and your body.
Absolutely. I mean, I talked about myself being a mom to be during that time a lot. I was a mom to be. And I remember this one man saying to me, a friend saying, "Sam, you are a mom from the moment you conceived. You are already a mom. You are a mom who lost her child." And that wording validated a lot of my pain and a lot of what I was going through, and helped me to grieve differently and more freely because I was grieving for the right thing then.
Right.
I wasn't almost a mom. I was a mom who lost her baby.
Right. My gosh, Sam, we're out of time. The book is called Love Letters to Miscarriage Moms by Samantha Evans, and you can find it on Amazon. Hey, thanks for your time. I really appreciate it, and hope you have a fantastic day, Sam.
Thank you so much, James, not Jim.
Guy with the washboard abs.
I need to give you a trigger warning here because we're going to be talking about miscarriages, all right? Samantha Evans is the author of Love Letters to Miscarriage Moms. Having had a miscarriage herself 10 years ago, she wrote a book, and this is the 10th anniversary edition of the book coming out. And Samantha, it's National Suicide Prevention Month. And I'm curious, is there talk or is there concern that there's a higher rate of suicide among moms who have miscarried? Do you know about that?
I don't know that statistic. I do know when I remember driving the day after my miscarriage, and there was a stale yellow light that I considered running, and there's a semi truck coming through. And I didn't want to die.
Right.
I wasn't suicidal and I wished to die, but I wished to cease to exist. I just wanted to stop living. I wasn't, does that make sense? There's a little bit of a difference there. But
It absolutely does. I luckily have a voice to get the word out, which is why I also wanted to talk about your book, because we're in Mayo Clinic town, and you still don't get to hear a lot about it because it's just one of those things. It's not polite to ask or talk and stuff like that. And so I don't think people purposefully put you in a corner or in a closet.
I mean, if you've never been through it and you don't know what grief is like, then I wouldn't know what to say either. I had a friend whose friend lost a baby, And he called me and he's like, Sam, what do I do? How do I help my friend? What does she want to hear from me? Like, how do I do this? Okay, so keep words brief, because the less you say, the better chance you have of not saying something stupid.
That's true. So true.
So I love you. I'm so sorry this happened. I am here for you when you need me. And I wasn't thinking clearly. So practical and concrete statements were really good. Like, what can I buy you for dinner? Can I take your other kids out for a little bit so you can have some time for yourself?
Right.
And thinking of specific ways that you can help. I recommended to my friend that he buy a gift card for a restaurant or for a massage type thing. And just in the card say, I love you. I'm so sorry this happened. I really want you to, take this opportunity to take care of yourself and give a gift card. Because I didn't feel like cooking or breathing. The night I miscarried, my friend Valerie said, can I bring you dinner? And I didn't respond because I was just out of it. She said, I am bringing you dinner. What do you want for dinner? And I was able to respond to that. So I got lasagna and chocolate peanut butter shake and everything I wanted. I just said it and it arrived at my door. And she actually cooked the lasagna at her house. Oh. So I didn't have to cook it myself either. And the less thinking the grieving person has to do, the better off you are.
Samantha Evans, author of Samantha Evans, right here in Rochester, author of Love Letters to Miscarriage Moms. You can find it on Amazon. She will be doing some book signings for the 10th anniversary edition. We'll let you know when that happens. In the meantime, I want you to hear an outtake from part of our conversation. Of course, we're doing a Zoom call, and she was surprised to learn her camera wasn't on.
So I have a yard here in Rochester. Let me see. Can you see this?
Move my camera back.
Can you see my yard?
I have no video from you.
Do I have no video with you?
No.
Do I?
You are. No, you don't have your video on.
Oh my gosh! This whole time, why didn't you say something?
Well, I thought you preferred not to.
No, I changed my shirt. I'm still wearing it, but I definitely changed my shirt for the video. Look, here I am.
Nice.
I put on makeup for you. So.
Oh, she put makeup on and changed her shirt for me. Oh, for crying out loud! I feel bad, but I also have run into people that are like, "Oh, I'll do a video call, but I don't want to be on video." So it's like, "Oh, okay, that's cool. Whatevs." She has a beautiful backyard, by the way. It is Y105 FM's early morning show. Remember, you can get her book at Amazon.com.
This is Y105 FM.
Are you real protective of your caramel sauce or your caramel sauce? I want to know. Just tell me now on the Y105 FM app. Hit chat. I asked because it's time for rabies shots. Doughheads in the news on the Y105 FM early morning show with me, James Raby. And the newspaper The Citizen says the Fayetteville, Georgia police recently arrested a McDonald's employee because of caramel sauce. Apparently a customer went in, asked for extra sauce, and two employees began to argue among themselves. The customer then joined the argument before one of the employees pushed him. The customer called 911. Daniels was charged with battery and didn't want to give up the extra sauce. Why? Why would you not want to give up the extra sauce to a nice customer? There's another thing that says they were being really belligerent and gross. Just said, hey, can I have some extra caramel sauce? Caramel is how I prefer to say it. And then I'm not so sure that they didn't mean what happened. But let's check this out. A senior citizen center in Taiwan says, we are so sorry. We were trying to entertain residents and make them happy. And apparently we offended people, and we are sorry for that. What they do? Well, they hired an exotic dancer to perform for them. You see, it was the Rice and Wheat Festival. It was the Rice and Wheat Festival. If that doesn't call for an exotic dancer, I don't know what does. She was dancing around in lingerie, apparently twerking and, doing some things physically for the retired veterans. And someone took offense. I don't think everyone took offense, though. I'm just throwing it out there. It's entirely possible not all the residents were upset. Maybe one or two was. And I'm not judging whether it was right or wrong, because that's not what we do with the rabies shots. We just notice. It's Y105 FM's early morning show.
This is Y105 FM.
Hey, it's James Raby. Thank you so much for listening to the Y105 FM Early Morning Show Radio on Demand podcast. I hope you'll subscribe and tune in Monday through Friday between 6 and 10 for more fun than you can shake a stick at.